How is it going, guys? It's Nutshell here, and today I'm going to show you one of the best ways to farm up loot within labs itself, and we're going to run through a wide variety of different things that you can do. Whether you have the key cards or you don't have the key cards, it doesn't really matter. Before we get into this video though, if you can do me a solid favor and hit the like button, and of course subscribe if you want to see some more Escape from Tarkov, that would be much appreciated. Let's get back into it. So if you don't have the key cards, there are some alternative keys that you can pick up, and they're relatively cheap in order for you to actually pick them up. These are the Labs Manager's Office Room key, as well as the Weapons Testing Area key, and both of these are fantastic. They're really good ways of making a decent extra bit of money every single raid, and are going to definitely make their money back over the entirety of all of the 40 uses that you get out of both of these keys. But we'll showcase both the keycard rooms and of course my kind of thoughts on which ones you should be picking up, as well as open up these rooms. And since the lab event is currently on, where it's completely free to go into raids, it's a really good time for you to grind out some labs, learn the map if you haven't already played a lot of it, get confident with it, and of course get yourself some extra rewards which come alongside the brand new quest, which is for labs. So we spawned kind of near the servers room, which is nice, and one of the first spots to check is of course the jacket, which is in this room. There are also a couple of computers in here which do have the potential to have graphics cards in them. Now obviously dependent on how lucky you get, you can potentially pick them up, but also, you know, sometimes you can get unlucky, which is probably 90% of the time, and of course you just pick up whatever you feel like out of these. There is also a kind of weapons crate that spawns next to these as well, so it's a nice little additional extra if you are interested in just picking up as much loot and getting out as quickly as possible, especially if you don't, you know, have any particular intent to open up any of those high value rooms within the game. There's also weapon components and weapon ammo boxes, that sort of stuff that lie around on the two tables here. Mostly pretty bad, but you can make some money as well. So we're going to run out. Now typically there can be PMC spawns which kind of spawn over in this area right there. In this raid we are playing kind of an offline raid, so yeah, there's not going to be any people, at least I hope so, within this raid, but yeah, we are just simply showing the key areas of the map. Now in terms of getting into the nitty gritty of the free areas of the map, which we'll showcase first, and then we'll go into the rooms and which ones to prioritize picking up if you don't have any of them already. The first place is to check in this room right here. It is by the green room. If you come down the stairs, it's in here. Now there can be rare spawns on the table or kind of the bench over here, and you can see here we picked up a GP coin and an axle. There can also be a spawn over here as well, and you just want to check around in this room and just double check the fridge as well, and then that is a nice little extra bit of money that you can pick up every raid. Some rare spawns in this room right here, so that is where you want to go. Then we can move over and around. There's usually some duffels that lie around on some of these benches over here, and you want to just check over them. Now raiders can spawn, and when they do spawn they do tend to push down into this area, but at the moment, given the fact that raiders now only spawn when you start pressing buttons for the most part, you can find them lying around in the map regardless, but mainly they won't spawn for a bit into the raid because PMCs do, I believe, go and touch buttons. Oh, and here you can find yourself a little a computer as well, so you want to be checking all of these, hoping that you can get yourself a graphics card. Got a little box that can spawn in here, and in the center of the map is a nice little place to kind of come to and pick up some extra bits of kind of secondary loot as you go through, picking up some ammunition, that sort of stuff, and you will kind of cost up how much we actually made out of the raid itself. And yeah, you're just checking around for any duffels. If you find them, perfect, that's what you want. You want to pick up as many of those duffels as possible. Just checking around on all of the benches is a good idea, and just making sure you're checking underneath the desk where computers are, because yeah, the graphics card's always a pleasure to have in the game. Now, once we've kind of looked through the majority of these kind of areas over here, we want to make our way directly to the opposite side, which is where we can open up our first key. One place to check to begin with is to check this area right here. This is where a ton of computers will spawn, and obviously, as I said, making sure that you do pick them up is a good extra bit of a way to make some extra money. It's always worth having yourself a sick case or something that you can drop in your GP coins or any valuables such as golden skulls and that sort of stuff, so it's worth having a sick case just to drop in bits like that, as well as having a docs case to put in some of the stuff that you can't put in a sick case. So there are some kind of crossovers where you would want to put some extra bits in either one of them, and having the option to use both is a good thing. Then you want to check on this disk. You can see here rare spawn right there next to the discs, and then yeah, a couple more computers to have a look at as well. And so really just maximizing how many of these spots you can pick up stuff from is really what you want to do. For me, obviously wires and stuff like this, it is worth picking up if you're trying to make a bit of money, but primarily for me, I'm just looking for the high value loot in particular, so we're not going to be fussed too much on picking up the kind of loose loot. Now, it's time to go over to the first key of this area, which is this one here. It's the weapons testing area, and this is the key that you will need. If we go in here, it is this one right here. It's usually about 1 million, I believe, something in that sort of range, but it spawns a wide variety of weapons and kind of ammunition as well. Ammo is usually on the table just directly to my left, and they're usually some pretty decent ammunition. You can get M855A1, you can get yourself various different types of ammunition. You've also got a ton of crates that are, well, weapon boxes. You know, you can get yourself some suppressors. You can pick up a wide variety of different armor components, especially if you play PvP. This is probably where you're going to be looking for a lot of your stuff. You can see night vision scope if we wanted one, and yeah, there's just loads of different random kind of boxes. You can also find a weapon box right here. We got ourselves a weapon crate here, and when you look at the price per opening, it's really, really cheap, and almost every single time you're going to find at least some ammunition worth the room, let alone finding some extra components that you might want to pick up and use. And so yeah, this room 100% is worth picking up, and often you'll find yourself on these some weapons that you can use, and yeah, just having the pure weapons literally just sat there that you can put on your sling or on your back, regardless, is going to make you like 100k, something like that. And generally, on terms of how much we make per opening of this, is probably like 200k, something like that. And of course, you can get lucky with some of the weapon components and stuff like that as well. And if you get multiple weapons, it can be even higher. But yeah, the average probably sitting around about 200k from every opening, which is a nice little additional extra. And the key itself wasn't too expensive to pick up. Not entirely sure as to the current price of the key, so be aware it could be 5 million for some reason. Not going to be worth it, but obviously it is usually a lot cheaper than that regardless. So with that being said, now we kind of just check around the key areas over here. There can usually be some duffels which spawn on a variety of different boxes. You can also find the key loot areas whereby you can pick up a wide variety of different bits and bobs. And by that I mean that you can find like the key components for your hideout. They can be lying on kind of these boxes, I don't know what you want to call them, but there's a lot of spawns that lie around just randomly around the map, and so checking on top of all of the boxes is a good thing to do. Then what we do is we want to go over to the manager's office, and the manager's office is directly up here. So we come up this stairs and then we go over to this location, and the actual office is here, but the actual entrance to the office is around the other side. But what's good about this is we can check all of the boxes and crates. You can often find the key hideout items over here. So for example, this hand drill, this could be one of those key hideout items that you need for labs. Obviously we're not actually going to take it because it's not worth the money or the bag space to actually take it up. But, you can find those key hideout items. The MCC and also the GPSA can spawn on top of those areas. In here, this is another great room. This is one that is going to have both duffel bags. It's going to have actual rare loose loot spawns. It's got safes. It has computers. And obviously, if you get anything decent out of this room, it's completely free. So you're just pure profit. Now, over here, this is the first rare spawn on top of the safe. Obviously, you've got the safe, which can have rare loot spawns in as well. well. So opening this one up is 100% worth it. Gold skull, as I said, making sure to have a sick case so you can drop your gold skull in there, and then, you know, having the rubles to put in whatever you want to do with the rubles. Grabbing up the cat stat. And then we can have a look on top of these. Over here, you will find a potential duffel, which luckily in this raid, we do actually have an aquamarine bottle. So we'll just use that just to get our energy back. So yeah, not a bad one. And then over here, you have essentially another computer. And computers are just all around, so I probably shouldn't just kind of pile out every single computer, but you just want to check underneath all of the desks there are computers lying around and open those up. I'll do a breakdown of all of the costs that we actually got from this raid at the end of it, and then you can kind of see how much we make. Then we got another rare spawn on here, so this is where directly near kind of the exit, so from where we came in over there, it is directly over here, directly on there. So we got a little Rizzy statue. Then over here, we'll open up this computer. So far, we've opened up a ton of computers and only found some mediocre loot. On top of these kind of areas over here, you can find a couple of different bits and bobs as well. So checking on them is worth doing. So far, nothing so far. Rare spawn right there. So we pick up a English tea, not particularly too special. And then down here, once again, checking the computers, you can see one right there. Got ourselves this duffel, probably already opened it, which we did. More computers, and then more computers as well. Checking on the desks, and just all over the desk can be random stuff and loot. And then we've got ourselves a little jacket as well, which is a nice little additional extra potential to get yourself some nice keys out of those. And then we go to the opposite side, which is the additional kind of room, which is pretty much the exact same as the one that we were just in. On here you can actually get a spawn for the kind of hideout items as well, and then over here you also got a spawn for the hideout items, which can spawn on over here. Nothing actually for us in this one, but you know, another little tip for you to have a look through if you are trying to grind out those key areas. Now in here, got ourselves a energy lamp, which is good. Over here we got another safe which we can open. Duffel bags are in the room directly in front of us. Euros and dollars, nothing too spectacular, you can see here. And so really it's just about going through these key loot areas. I usually don't just kind of check every computer, etc. It's really if it's on the way to the next room. It's mainly checking the rare spawns. Rare spawns can be on the bookshelves, so checking on each of these bookshelves is a good idea. You can see there, Tagilla, nice one to have, especially if you're going for Kappa. And now is a good time to actually grind out some of those items that you need for Kappa and just chuck it away in a scav junk box or something, so you are ready to complete Kappa when you do it. But I'd only really recommend it to those of you that are very close, you know, level 40 plus. Otherwise you're just going to have them lying around for so long, and you know, keeping them for that long is not particularly that useful. And then we're just checking on top of all of these. As I said before in the previous room, these can have spawns on them. You can see there, strike cigarettes, that sort of stuff. More computer parts. You got yourself some drawers if you really want to open them, but it's a relatively dangerous area, this one, so I usually don't like to stay exactly still because PMCs and raiders can come over here. Checking on all of the desks again, and then yep, you got another one over here, can spawn random bits and bobs. So there we got some Bahika, but we're not going to use that. And then set a hard disk, which is whatever, and then yeah, just a nice general little couple of rooms to add to your journey through. And then what I'll do is break this one, and then we're almost at the manager's office itself. So we can come over to this area, make sure that you are checking on some of the benches as they can spawn a wide variety of stuff. Check on here as well, and on these boxes, as that can have bits and bobs. That is the cat room. Cat room is very good, and it'll be the next stop for us in this one. Then we've got ourselves the duffel. So as you can see already from just this one raid, it works really well. You can earn a ton of money just purely by doing some of the free stuff. We really didn't get too much out of the weapons testing area, so not a ton of money made. You want to check the desks over there. And then we've got the briefing room, which can have some spawns on the chairs and on the desk or the table even. So just checking around is a good idea. And then we make our way out and through into here. So we open up, this is the manager's office. So this is the key that you will need. It is this one right here, definitely worth having. It is just free loot. And then in here, got yourself some rare spawns that can spawn on the chair. You can see that there's some bobbleheads that you can get, some more rare loot spawns. You got yourself a weapon box as well. And of course, you can get weapons. You can get all sorts in these. And yeah, depending on what you want to pick out, you can take. You got yourself a nice little computer. You also have rare spawns on the desk next to the computer. We actually got ourselves a GPU, which is nice. We'll do a full breakdown of the whole loot cost, how much we exactly made. You've also got yourself some drawers, which I'm not going to open since it's just a time waste. And yes, you could get lucky, but probably not going to. Then we've got a safe that we can open up. Horses, not worth actually taking. Rubles we will dump into our little sick case or docs case. For those of you wondering, it is worth taking 2 injectors cases if you are going to be doing the actual keycard runs, and we'll go through each of the rooms within this raid as well. A power supply, which is a nice one, and can be worth a little bit of money, especially if you use it to turn into capacitors. Make sure that you don't actually unlock this door, as it can potentially, well, it's going to double use your key. You want to go out the same exact door. Unless you really have to go out that door because a PMC is pushing you or something like that. All of the rooms in the manager's office are bulletproof, so it's not like you can kind of just jump through there and break down some of the glass. Then we usually run into here, which is where you're going to find a weapon box, and we actually did spawn. Then we go in here, nothing actually in it, which is typical. We're alright on food. You can find food spawns in here. On the desk, you can find rare loot spawns, and there's one of them, the intel folder, a nice little additional extra, about 400k right now, which is a good one. On the floor next to this weapon box, which doesn't always spawn, can be also some rare loot. We will drop out the wires in this raid, and we'll also drop out the cat because it's not actually worth that much. And yeah, we'll probably min-max some of the loot that we do get, just so you kind of see what the pinnacle of what you can get is. Obviously, you can have bigger backpacks, you can have different rigs, you can kind of go into the raid however you want to. But yeah, it's completely down to you. Just check on the chairs and also on all of these. There can be some spawns. You can get Bitcoin spawns on the table and over by where we found that weapon box over there. So nothing so far. Check around. Make sure you check all of the chairs and kind of the areas around here, and then that is pretty much kind of my free loot run. Usually by this time I'm already like absolutely stacked full, which is kind of what you're seeing here. Like you could min-max and get yourself a little bit more money, but it doesn't make that much more money. If you are a free player, you can also enter into this room, which is where you'll find the red keycard and the violet keycard. The good thing about this is it spawns duffels. There can be 2 duffels in here, maybe even 3, which you can open. There's one right there, as well as on these, and I believe there can be one down here or here. So you can open up those as well. You got yourself a kind of a random weapon box, which can have obviously a wide variety of bits and bobs in there. But yeah, it's a nice way to level up your search as well. Labs is just full of containers everywhere, especially like when you consider all of the computers and everything like that. Good chance of getting yourself graphics cards, as you can see within this raid. And then we go in here, check this this computer. I think there's 3 computers in this room that do spawn. Some more caps, and I make that 4, so you can see there, one under that location. We'll check that. Another cord. They're not particularly worth that much at the moment, so we'll probably drop those out as we kind of go through some of the other rooms. And then yeah, checking the desk for any rare loot, as well as some of these shelves right there, and also on here can be some spawns as well. So checking all of the kind of I don't know, cabinets, I guess you'd call them. And then obviously on the desk, you can also get some weapon or ammo boxes lying on the desks as well sometimes. And then the other room that we can go to before we go into the actual keycard run is just down this area over here. Which is kind of opposite to where we are. Depending on how you want to kind of stack out your raid and go through is up to you. But obviously, depending on where you spawn will depend on where you start this run, which is why I wanted to showcase each of these rooms in detail and kind of give you an explanation as to which rooms are good. In this room, we have some rare spawns that spawn on the cabinets, as well as some money that spawns here. You can also get yourself quite a few computers in here. You can see, make sure that you are checking here and on top of the cabinets in here. Check the desk as well, make sure that there's nothing on there. And then we got a computer. Trying to level up my search skill, get that as high as possible. And then we want to check over here. You can get some rare loot spawns. I think one spawn's there and maybe somewhere else. But over here we've got another one, a Loot Lord plushie, which we might take. We'll dump out the power supply. Loot Lord, not really worth that much and probably worth less, but I'm not sure if we have that for Kappa. And then in here, you want to check the desks and everything, make sure that you aren't missing anything. Check the computer as well. And then, yeah, now we go out. You've got some more computers. It's just, labs is just computer heaven. I mean, if you are after graphics cards, it's a great way of doing it. And now we'll kind of min-max, we'll drop out some of the manuals, we'll also drop out the ammunition, and give up us a little bit more space. What else can we drop out? We'll drop out the caps and the wires and the CPU fan. There you go, we'll grab that one and pop that, the cords in there. So we've got a little bit more space now, so we can do what we need to do in the raid and min-max a little bit better. So there you go. Now we go around and there's another computer over here. On the desk you can also find bitcoins, I believe, so it's worth checking this room. Hard disk, caps, nothing too interesting. Over here on the opposite side is another computer. And we'll open this one up. Usually, just for kind of clarity, is if I see a two or like just one loot in a computer, I'll just leave it. Like, I won't bother searching it because it's not a graphics card. But obviously, if you are after computer components for some of the quests, it is worth doing. Then we have over here, which is another good spot to actually come into. Can be rare loot spawns on there where the money was. They can also be on the desk and on the chair. And I think they can be on the floor over here. There's also one right there by the UV. Obviously, we're not going to take a UV. You can also open the gates from here, which is going to cause the raiders to spawn. So you can do that, and it's going to open up the gates over there. Obviously, a computer here on the chair directly in front of us is another rare loot spawn. But nothing so far in this raid, so just want to maximize how much loot we're actually getting, but primarily make sure you check in that one. And then you've got another room that you can open up if you wanted to. I haven't got the key for it, but it's fine. Then we are pretty much there, I think, in terms of the run that I usually do. You can have a quick kind of look through all of the areas down below and go through here. There can be just a ton of duffels lying around, so if you need some of the components that do spawn in duffels, then it's worth having a look. But for me, I usually don't bother down here. There can be PMC spawning around here, so be aware of that. And going around, raiders also going around. But yeah, that is pretty much all of the areas. For those of you wondering, you can actually find some of the keys in the raid itself. So, you know, the labs up, manager's office, weapons training. I believe one of the spawns is directly over there on top of this, I don't know, bench. It spawns right there, I believe. So you can get stuff in there. So just another way of kind of hoping that you get lucky if you do spawn over by the gym. I think there's a couple of spawns where it can spawn, but primarily it's not really too bad. Then what I will do is I'm going to now showcase off the actual keycard runs so you get an idea of what the keycards and the loot that you get in those. So if you are after just the pure results, you can skip ahead and look at the results of the raid itself later on in the video, which should be timestamped and chaptered. But if you are after to just see what the actual keycards give you, then now is that portion. So red room, this is probably my least favorite room out of everything. It is just utterly garbage for like 99% of the times I come in here. Sometimes you get lucky. I did a stream recently where I was crapping on red room, and then the first time we opened it, we actually got a graphics card right there, which is where one of the rare loot spawns is. There's also 2 rare loot spawns here and here, so checking those is a decent thing to do. And then on the desk you can also get a rare loot spawn. You got ammo spawns, weapon components, that sort of stuff. You also then is worth checking some of the ammo within some of these, so you pick it up, unload the first bit, drop it back in, and then we discard it. And then obviously weapon components, it really is mainly just trash weapon components and sometimes getting ammo, so not really worth it in here. You've got the armory key, which you can open. There's a couple of rare loot spawns, I guess, in here, so you can see there we've got a den figurine, and then up on right here, so directly on the top shelf there, you can get some, so it's worth like checking up there and making sure that you hover over. And then you've got like weapon components, weapons in here as well. And then you've got a cabinet and a gun cabinet as well. Nothing too spectacular. Then what we do is we go over to the violet room. This is violet. This is where having red and violet at the same time is good. But if you don't have the money to buy red, definitely get violet. This is one of the best rooms for kind of just guaranteeing you some money. You can see there on top of the shelving unit, a rare spawn. You've got one right here for a gold chain. You got a rare spawn on the floor, literally right there usually. And then over here you've got weapon components that spawn on top or on these shelves. They can be a bit buggy to actually try and grab, so you have to be a little bit kind of like kneel and crouch and stuff to actually be able to pick them up. You can see there some money on the desk, and there can also be a variety of different things on the desks. You can see here figurine. We got ourselves a GPU again, so 2 GPUs within one raid, and there you go, a weapon component. There can also be one on the chair and on the floor, I think. We've got a weapon box as well, so we can open that one up. Nothing spectacular. And then we have a look over here. You got weapon components similar to the other one, and then a weapon crate box. And then in the room, literally where we are now, directly in front, is another little thing to open up and check in there and see whether you can pick up anything worth it. We're checking it in here. So we've got ourselves the most overpowered weapon, the Kedda. We got ourselves an M4, which is nice. And then in here, you've got some spawns on the floor and just checking around on top of the server bit. But yeah, we're not taking the horses. They are worth absolutely nothing. So that is red and violet, and then usually I will make my way over to yellow, which I believe, if I'm not being a complete animal, is over this way. So we'll run over here. And then it's here. So open up yellow. Jump in here. There's a rare loot spawn on the chair right there. Nothing so far. We've also got some spawns there. Another spawn on the chair itself again. Want to check around on the desk. You can, I believe you could turn off the announcements on here as well. Checking on the chairs. There we go. A little bear. We can drop out a hard disk for that. And some loot spawns on top of these and these. And then, yeah, just checking on top of the desks. You can also find the rare kind of components for, what's it called? Like the hideout as well in this room. I've definitely found some. And then you've got a little cage that you can open and check in there if you're interested. Then what we do is kind of go back to where we started, which is green, blue, and black. And we can open up all of these. This is kind of like the optimal place that I will look. And so we'll go straight over to green room. which is directly down here. This is green room. You can get shot through the glass. Be aware of that. It is actually a thing. People saying that it isn't, it is just completely wrong. You can get shot through the glass in green room. You can also shoot out of the glass in green room. So be aware of that. On here, stims and stuff like that. We'll make some space just so that we can pop those into our injector cases. Open up this. Then in here, got some spawns on top of there. You've got a medical case that can spawn there. You have stims that can spawn on top of there. You want to check here. There can be stims all over the counter and just random bits and bobs. Over here, you want to run over quickly. Check here. Nothing there. Check there. Check right there. Is another stim spawn over here, so we drop those into our injectors cases, although we can't because we've already got them filled up. On here and over there and like around this table are stim spawns. Over here, little crate can get Ledexes in these ones. Nothing in that one. Over here, we will check there. And behind there can also be one. On top of these, you can find spawns. And then over here, check over there, check the shelves, and then another box over here. Might be able to unload those to give us some more space. And then check around, check the shelves, check in here, check these shelves. Around here, you've also got stim spawns that spawn all over this. We can grab that one up. And then check on these, check the shelves again as well. Then we check in here, check over there, blood set, blah, 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 blah. Got ourselves a P22, some more stims, SJ6, that sort of stuff. Over here, rare spawn on the floor, it's a pass. Not too bothered about it. We got ourselves an MCC, which, just for the clarity, we will pick up. We'll drop out the bear buddy. There we go. Rare spawns on the floor. Rare spawns up here by the computer and around. You got some random kind of assortment of weapon components. You got a weapons box. Got yourself a golden star. Got some stim spawns. You want to check on there as well and right there. Some more spawns over here for stims, and then we'll run out. Now what we do is we take a left over here. We are going to have to extract in a second, otherwise we're going to not have all of the loot, but we would go over here. And then you can check inside of the black room. This is black room, so of course I've used the red key card. There we go. This is where you can have a variety of Ledex spawns in here. We'll quickly run through. I'm not going to pick up any of the stims. Stim spawn, stim spawn, stim spawn on here. You got a Ledex spawn in there. More stim spawns all over the floor and on there. So we got a Ledex. There you go. This raid has been absolutely broken. A box there. You got some more spawns over here and there. Ledex spawn right there. Check on the bed on here and there. And then inside of this room, you've got some more stim spawns on both sides of that. And now you can go loot up blue room. It's not particularly very good. It's down there on the corner. Take a right and then another right, but we are going to go downstairs and extract because we don't want to lose all the stuff, and I want to do a full breakdown of the costs that we actually managed to get. So when we want to extract, we come down to this corner. If you are going to want to extract on the bottom, go through here. You can check the toolbox if you want. We press that button. Now the elevator will work in the bottom story of where we are right now. We can call the elevator right there. If you want to kind of extract from above, you can go into this room. We open this one up, take a right over here, open that, go over here, turn on the power right there. And that will give you the medical block just outside of the blue room that you can leave out of. But now we can go and extract out of the raid. So that is what we managed to get from one singular raid on labs. So yeah, a pretty solid raid to be sure. And of course we'll do a full breakdown of all of the costs of everything that we got out of the raid that you can have a look at, and hopefully it will be a interesting kind of breakdown of how much you make each time that you go onto labs. So yeah, a really nice one, and I'll do that in a second. Right, so we're going to take out everything that we did actually get from the raid, so you can have a look at how much we made. You can see the 2 GPUs there, which is very lucky. A load of rares. We got the LEDX, we got some scopes, and just constant loot in here. And then we'll grab out the rubles, the skulls, and extra bits. And then if we look in here, we've got some more money that we stashed in there, and that is pretty much everything, alongside the weapon right there as well. So taking everything out, I'm gonna go sell everything that we did get in this raid, and then I'll showcase how much we actually made, and kind of yeah, give you a brief overview of what you can expect when you do play labs, and know where the actual rare loot spawns are, so you know whether labs is actually worth running on PvE. And just to highlight that we haven't got anything selling, you can see Ragman, we've got nothing in to actually collect, and on the flea market, if we go and have a look, we've got no offers in, so we're gonna sell everything that way, you can see. And also in my stash, we have all of the money kind of separated out, so this is what we got from the actual raid over here, and so there's no other money like where it's gonna auto sort into in the raid. So that is how much we've made so far, and then I'll make sure that I've got no other money in my stash lying around that it's going to stack into, so you get a good picture of how much we made. Right then, we finally sold absolutely everything from this raid, except from the MCC and some of the ammunition that we got, because we can't actually sell it on the flea. Obviously, depending on what you want to value this sort of ammunition, it's up to you. But yeah, things like Devastator rounds, I mean, it is what it is. It's not really worth a whole lot unless you want to use it. So yeah, it's up to you what you want to value those as. But you can see we got some AP rounds, which are amazing. And of course, we got a ton of them as well from just those boxes that we did have. And if you were purely after ammunition as well as making a bit of money, this is probably a very good way of just farming up those. I haven't actually got the actual full amount of money. Some of this stuff was just from discarding bits and bobs like LEDXs, because the fact that they're not worth any more by selling them on the flea, and in fact you'll lose money because of the tax that you're going to pay on the items, and of course some of the other bits and bobs like the rare loot that doesn't go for anything more than what you can just sell to therapists for, which is obviously some of the best loot, because then you don't have to wait for anything. And then of course we've got all of the items that we did sell right in here, so we'll receive all of that. And then we'll kind of do a full breakdown of the full costs that we got from the raid. So from that one raid, given the fact that we got quite lucky, we did manage to pick up quite a bit of money. I forgot to sell this intelligence folder as well, but I'll probably use it. We'll just add the cost of what it actually costs to sell onto the total of the money that we made. So far from that raid, we got 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 3.5 million, plus we got an MCC, so value that at what you want to value it as. But of course you can just sell that if you've already got one to therapists for 189,000, which I believe is the highest that you're going to get out of all of the traders. Depending on whether or not you want to sell to Peacekeeper for dollars. Yeah, that is the best value, so 189,000, which we will actually sell because I've already fully upgraded my hideout. So we can get rid of that one, and we'll add that to the cost of the raid. So 3.5 million right there. Well, 3.6 million to be precise, plus another 300k. So call it 4 million just from the rare loose loot, plus this one as well, if we were to add that in there, and a smoked balaclava. So 4 million from a raid right there. Most of it being from free loot as well. And also picking up those computer parts is a very, very good way of farming those graphics cards. So quite lucky in terms of the graphics cards, but even without that, we still would have made about 3.5 million. And we didn't even loot up the stims, which were in Black Room, because we just ran out of time, because I was showcasing you all of the locations that you want to check out and not optimizing the route that we're actually going to take. So a very, very good amount of money that you can earn every single time that you run labs. And it's a very quick way of making money as well when you do run labs as well. So combine that with the fact that it's free right now, and maybe if you're watching this in in the future, it isn't free as part of the event that we've got going on at the time of recording this video. Even taking away 166k or about 200k for the keycard, you're still making 3.8 million. So obviously we didn't have any AI in the raid, but still a very, very good way of farming up the rubles. And hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to like it and of course subscribe down below, and I will see you in the next video coming soon.